Hello, and welcome to episode 33 of the Mindful Knitter podcast. My name is Claire, and I am your host, and it has been a long time. If you are new, welcome. I'm so glad that you found me, and I hope that you have fun hanging out today as we go through some yarny fun. I have so many finished objects to share with you guys today because it's been like 2-3 months since I last podcast. So there are a lot of finished objects. And if you are coming back, welcome back, you guys. I'm so happy to have you here after a little bit of a hiatus. If you want to connect with me on social media, I am on Ravelry and Instagram. On Ravelry, it's the Mindful Knitter Pod, and on Instagram, it's the.mindfulknitter. So feel free to connect with me on there if you would like to. And other ways to get in contact with me, I do have my email down in the description below. It's clairethemindfulknitter@gmail.com. And all of the show notes, all of the information about the yarn, the projects and patterns, contact information, all of that kind of stuff is down in the description below this video. So check that out if you want the details of any of the stuff we're talking about today. And we're also going to do our Hygge Make Along prize for today. So we'll be announcing that as well because it's long overdue. I had considered making a completely separate video or post about the winner for that, but that did not happen. We'll talk about what's been going on in my life a bit later in the podcast because my life has been so full lately. It's been really good for the most part, but yeah, there's a reason I haven't podcasted in a few months. So I'll catch you guys all up on that towards the end. We'll start with the yarny stuff for everybody who's only interested in the knitting and crochet. I also do feel the need to, say this. It probably doesn't really matter. Nobody probably cares but me. But I'm in the process of growing out my hair again, which is kind of fun. But when you're growing out a pixie cut, you've got some awkward phases that your hair goes through. So right now it's in this kind of long, messy pixie. I might get it cleaned up in the next week or two. Well, no, in the next maybe 3 weeks, I think is when my appointment is. So if my hair looks a little off for the next several months, it's because I'm growing out a super short pixie to something longer again. If you have been around for a while or if you've gone back and you've seen older podcast episodes, you will have seen that my hair used to be very long. Super long, like it went down to the small of my back. And then I cut it all off last summer, but it's been about a year and I'm starting to feel a little bored. So I think I would like not super long hair again. I would just like long hair-ish. I think into the shoulders might be about what I'm aiming for. So we'll see. I've got my coffee in this adorable little MKAL cup. How cute is this? It's made in Chattanooga for a company called Milk and Honey. They do gelato and coffee, and they have, I think it's local honey that they do. I might be making that up, but I'm pretty sure that they source local honey for their shop. So this is my little MKAL. Isn't it so cute? It's my favorite little coffee cup right now. It brings me immense joy. So today, it's going to be a lot of finished objects, you guys. I have finished quite a few things in the past few months, which honestly I was kind of surprised about because I feel like I haven't been crafting tons because my time has been taken up with other things. But apparently I did finish quite a few things, so that's exciting. So I've got a lot of finished objects to share with you guys. Then I'll share, I think, like 2-ish works in progress, and then an upcoming project that I'm going to cast on this week. And I feel like this is slightly wrinkled, so it doesn't really matter. And let's see, then we'll just kind of catch up on life stuff. Well, let's do finished objects, then the Hygge MAL winner, and then we'll go into current whips and upcoming projects. And yeah, then we'll do some chat at the end if there's some time. So my first finished object, we'll just jump right into it, is what I'm wearing. This is my Cloudbow pullover. This was a pattern that was published in Pom Pom magazine, the spring 2022 issue, so last year's spring issue of Pom Pom magazine. And this is the Cloudbow. This is not blocked. I knit the size, see if I can get up so I can show you a little bit better. Isn't it so cute? And it is wrinkled. It was in a suitcase and I pulled it out of the suitcase this morning to show you all. But I knit this with Suri silk, Suri alpaca rather than mohair. And I love how it turned out. This is pre-blocking, so I have not blocked this, which is one of the reasons why it's not super, super sheer, like the Cloudbow, especially when it's knit in mohair, but then particularly after you block it, it's very sheer most of the time. Some people do it with different weights of yarn. There are a lot of different versions of the Cloudbow out there now, but yeah, so I did Suri. I actually did, the white is just like an undyed Suri alpaca from just like a distributor. And then the colored is Ching melted baby Suri alpaca. So it's more like a sport weight kind of gauge. So this is not super opaque. It's not super sheer. It's pretty opaque. I don't really know what it'll be like when it's blocked. I knit the size, I think they're letter sizes, so I think I knit the size large, and I don't think I needed to, because again, this is pre-blocking. I wanted it to be very big and flowy, but I think I'm fine to do the medium next time. I'll definitely be knitting this again. It was so much fun. It's really like knitting on a cloud the whole time, which is so sweet. Yeah, and it's just super cozy, very wearable. It's got like a little bit of cropped fit, but it's so easy to modify. I did the longer sleeves. The pattern has instructions for longer sleeves or short sleeves. And it also has instructions for this peplum top or a dress. And there are some really pretty dresses that are out there. I think I would like to do a dress at some point. Maybe not anytime soon, but I'd love to make a Cloudbow dress. So other than, I think I just knit it to pattern. I think I did this is kind of making me lean forward and it's a little annoying. Yeah, I think I just knit it to pattern. I used the recommended needle size. Well, I think I did make the sleeves slightly shorter than what they recommended for the long sleeves, because the long sleeves would have hit me more like here, I think. And I didn't really want that. I wanted it to be, I don't know, this nice like 3/4 length. The short sleeves are almost kind of like half sleeves from what I've seen from people's samples. So it's just so much fun. I love it. The yarn was a delight to work with. The Ching baby Suri, melted baby Suri alpaca. So good to knit with. And I just love this thing. I imagine that I'm going to wear it a lot, especially in the springtime. But even like in the summer right now, it's the beginning of June. I didn't say the date, but it is the beginning of June. It's June 6th, 2023 today. And just wearing this inside during the summer is really nice because it's got these bright, chirpy colors and it keeps me nice and cozy while my husband's got the air conditioning on. So I love it. I love it. This is going to be a staple for the spring, but I think it'll get year-round use. I realized too, as I stated that my husband has the air conditioning on, I didn't state where I'm coming to you guys from, which is usually something I'd say in the beginning of the podcast, but since it's been months, I'm out of practice. So I am coming to you all from the southeast of the United States, where I live with my husband Alex and our 3 Great Danes, Murphy, Nolly, and Obi. I do also have 2 goldfish named Caterpillar and Mantis, but they don't really get featured tons on the channel because they stay in their aquarium and aren't really involved in my knitting life a whole lot. Every once in a while on like a vlog, the goldfish will show up, but the dogs make more appearances. Not on the podcast, but certainly in the vlogs. So, and on Instagram, I guess. I think that's all I have to say about my Cloudbow. I love it. I love it so, so much. I wish I could give you guys a better close-up view of it, but it is a little hard when I'm wearing it. And this camera never likes to focus super well close up. I might see about fixing that at some point though. So that's that one. The next guy is this wrap that is, it blocked out big. Oh my goodness. How nonsensical. This guy blocked out super big. This is a wrap that I did show in the last podcast episode. And he was almost done. Yeah, almost done. I think I only had like that much left to do from here to here. And it's just cozy and wonderful and will not get any use this summer. It's going to get put up until the fall. But yeah, it's beautiful. It's a boucle for the most part. The boucle is what inspired me to knit this. And again, I just kind of made this up as I went. I sort of loosely based the cast on, I think it was the Elementary wrap by, I want to say Purl Soho. The information will be down in the description below though, so you can check that out. The cast on number was kind of loosely based on that, but I changed the cast on number. So I just sort of used that pattern as an initial sort of way to figure out what I was kind of aiming for as far as cast on number, because I didn't want to try to calculate it or cast on a million times till I got it right or anything. Oh, and then I think I did also use their edge. So yeah, I mean, it's fairly based on the Elementary wrap pattern, I would say. But I obviously, well, not obviously if you haven't seen the pattern, it's just a plain like stockinette, one color, like wrap pattern. So I did a lot of modifications as far as like color changing. I added eyelets. So we got color change, more eyelets with a garter ridge. So yeah, it was a very useful sort of recipe type pattern that could serve as like a general guide and template. So yeah, I'd recommend it if you are wanting a wrap and you just need like a sort of recipe to get started. Oh, that's not a bad way to show that actually. So yeah, this guy is super, super cozy, super big. I can probably wrap this around me multiple times. I think this will be very, very cozy for the winter. But even in the fall, I'll probably get some use out of it. So I just really wanted something that was sort of blanket-ish to just wrap up in and be super cozy. And this definitely fits the bill. It's a merino boucle. It has Angora. I held Angora and Suri alpaca double for this section. And then I held like a merino wool and a Suri alpaca double for this section. It's basically DK weight-ish throughout. Sorry, part of my like nail keeps getting caught on the fabric and that's annoying. But yes, the boucle is about a DK, and then the fingering weight in the Suri was, you know, about a DK-ish. So yeah, I used the elementary wrap pattern that was written for DK. There are multiple versions of that pattern for different weights of yarn. So it's a good pattern. And I do want to say it's Purl Soho. It is in the description below though, so you can definitely see. As far as who did these yarns, the boucle is by Ritual Dye. Is it Ritual Dye Works or is it Ritual Dyes? I don't have a ball band near me to show you guys, but Ritual Dyes, and the Suri Alpaca, that's this like beautiful like golds and mauves. It is held with the Angora, so it's a little hard to tell because the Angora I hand dyed myself with avocado skins. So it is kind of like a dusty mauvey color. But the variegated or sparkle, not really speckled, it is like lightly variegated Suri, that was dyed by Stella Luna Fiber Co. and the color is Tobacco Leaf. This color of the boucle by Ritual Dyes is Rhodonite. I want to say it's Rhodonite. I'm almost positive it's Rhodonite. I don't think I'm making that up. And then this guy in the middle, this was a merino fingering weight yarn that I held double with a white Suri alpaca. This speckly guy was like a one of a kind by Nanette Wake Studio. So the boucle was really the inspiration for this shawl, and I just pulled a whole bunch of other stuff from stash so that I could make it big enough, because obviously this little section of boucle plus this little section of boucle was not going to be big enough for like a full wrap. So all in all, this took up, was it 6 or 7 skeins of yarn? And it was like 350-ish grams, 350 to 400 grams of yarn. So substantial. 400 grams. This was a 400 gram shawl because I'm remembering now. Yeah. So very pretty, very fun, very cozy. I'm looking forward to using this winter. Next finished object. This really is like a finished object parade, you guys. I've knit so many things and crocheted so many things. This next one is a crocheted project. So I don't know, did I show this to you all in the last podcast episode? I can't remember. But this is my, I think it's Eileen. It might be Aileen, but I think it's pronounced Eileen sweater. And this is a pattern that is released by Expression Fiber Arts. So you can find it on the Expression Fiber Arts website or on their Ravelry page. And their samples, for the most part, that I've seen are knit all in one solid color, but I did like a marled kind of version because I just wanted to scrap bust. I had so many of these like aquatic kind of colors in my stash in fingering weight yarn, and I don't know if you can see a whole lot of my stash behind me, but I do love like periwinkle, and I love periwinkle. I have a couple different versions of periwinkle in my stash, and then I've got this lovely like purple. Then I've got a couple little blues here, but for the most part, my stash is neutrals, pinks, like a lot of different pinks, and then some very like light kind of blues. Like I love like this kind of like, you know, like light, just like muted, almost earthy. This is Wool Studios, in case you're curious. yeah, so that's more my jam. Is I love soft colors and earthy colors. Jewel tones are not my usual, but I did go through a phase when I was first buying hand-dyed yarns a couple years ago where like I thought I was really attracted to the jewel tones. So I bought them, not really like realizing at that time that's not really what I love to knit with, and it's not really what I love to wear. So I had a lot of these in stash, and I decided it would be fun to combine them all for one just jewel toned sweater project. I decided to do a DK weight crocheted sweater so that it wouldn't take me a million years. I could hold the fingering weight double, and crochet goes pretty quick, at least for me. And this did take longer than I thought that it would, but also this sweater weighs 1,000,000 pounds. And I think that's my fault. I think it's because I held fingering weight double. And I think that I actually, a lot of the times I think that my, what would it be, gauge for crochet can be a little on the tighter end. So this is very, very dense and very heavy. Like as I lift it, I like have to heft it. I did change the collar on this pattern. I folded it over and sewed it down because the way that the collar was written, it was like standing up and then like flaring out, and that might just be because I was not doing it correctly. I have crocheted ribbing before on other sweaters and it's been fine. I haven't had any issue with flaring, but like the bottom of my sweater has no flaring at all with the ribbing. So I don't really know what happened, but the cuffs and the neckline were both flaring a lot, so I just folded it down. I think I just knit, or I think I crocheted them slightly longer than what the pattern suggested, and then I folded it over double and then just like stitched it together on the inside so I could get like a really neat, clean edge. And I think it looks really nice folded over like that. This used so much yarn, I can't even begin to guess how much yarn it was. And I couldn't even begin to tell you all of the different yarns and things that went into it because it was a lot of scraps. I want to say that about this definitely, without any doubt whatsoever, weighs more than this does. And this was about 400 grams. So this is probably, I would say this is around 600 grams of yarn. It's so heavy and it's so warm. So this is a really, really great, like in the depths of winter kind of sweater. I did make it a little cropped, so I can wear it with dresses or with tunics, which is what I wanted. I wanted something a little cropped. I am finding that for my shape, at this point in my life, I really like cropped things on me. So it's very convenient that that's a little on trend. Because I'm finding that I feel very comfortable in something cropped, and then like my bottoms are just like higher waisted, or I have like a long dress or like a high waisted like long skirt or that kind of thing. I love the cropped thing, and I love that it takes less time to knit and crochet. But this was a great pattern. It looks really beautiful in a solid, let me see if you can see the texture of the stitch a little better here. It does look really beautiful in a solid colored yarn because of the texture of the stitch. But yeah, this was just a super fun, it makes me think of the ocean. I think this is a great like depth of winter kind of sweater because it's so cozy and warm. It's super soft. And it has these like beautiful jewel toned ocean colors, which I just love. So this is my Eileen sweater. Again, you can get that pattern through Expression Fiber Arts. And I crocheted the size medium for this, and it fits perfectly. absolutely perfectly. I didn't make any modifications other than with the neck and the cuffs, just folding it over so it wouldn't flare out strangely. And if you're a crocheter and you know why my ribbing was flaring, please, comment below. Let me know what I was doing wrong, because I had no flaring at all on the bottom, as you could see. And then I recently crocheted another sweater that had a lot of ribbing too, and none of it flared. So I don't really know what the difference was. Maybe I was just doing something weird that week. I'm not really sure. But yeah, super pleased with that. That's going to get a lot of use in the winter, I think. I just realized I don't think I have my sock blockers. That's unfortunate. Okay, I've got a couple pairs of socks to show you guys, but actually, as I'm mentioning it, let's just show you some socks now. But I wish I had my sock blockers. It's a little annoying. They're always cuter to show on sock blockers. So these are just some little shorty socks that I knit out of Patons Kroy Sidewalk Chalk was the colorway for these. And they are just cute little shorty socks. I didn't really, it's not any particular pattern. They're just vanilla shorty socks. I did, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it looks like I did about 9 or 10 rows for the cuff. And then, yeah, I did the heel flap and gusset. I think I did like 9 or 10 rows, if I'm remembering this correctly. I did 9 or 10 rows for the cuff. No, I know what I did. So I did 9 or 10 rows for the cuff for these, heel flap and gusset. And then this is like a sport weight yarn. So I normally do 56 stitches for my socks, but since these are sport weight, I did, I think 52 is what I usually will cast on for sport weight pair of socks. And then I'll just make my heel flap a little bit shorter than I normally would, like maybe just like 1 repeat less, maybe 2, and yeah, everything else is mostly the same. Like maybe I'll make the toe like slightly shorter by like, one decrease or something. But yeah, these fit great. However, the thing I was thinking about was as I put these on, they don't sit the way that I would love for them to. You can kind of see like just, look at this guy. You can see it just sitting here. The back part of the heel comes down, and that's how it fits on the foot too. This part is down lower than what I would like. It doesn't slip off or really cause any problems, at least not so far, but I don't feel like it's the ideal way for my shorty socks to fit. So I did something different with the next pair that I knit. These are fingering weight, so this was 56 stitches for cast on, and this was definitely 10, at least 10 rounds for the cuff. This was probably more like 8 or 9, if I'm being honest, because this I think was 10 or 11. And then what I did as well was I did some short rows, like in the back here, so you might be able to see it better on this sock. Yeah, you definitely, I did it more so on this sock. These I was treating kind of as an experiment, so the 2 socks are not the same. I'm trying to get it kind of flat since I don't have the blockers. But you can see this comes up higher. Like it's not like perfectly flat up here, but it does come up higher. And the reason is because I actually did short rows back here. This has more cuff than the front. So like my back 2 DPNs, I have like another, I think 3 or 4 rows back here. So there's a longer cuff in the back than in the front to help bring up the back of the sock so that it doesn't like come down on the ankle so much. It's almost like a straight line. These fit really, really well. And then I also just did like, I think 2 rounds of stockinette before I started my heel flap. These fit really, really, really well, at least for me. That ankle part, or heel part, like the part that's on your Achilles tendon, doesn't come down at all. It stays like perfectly like even. So I think that's what I'm gonna do with my shorty socks from now on, is just do some short row. I knit all my socks on DPNs, so I just have my back 2 DPNs and I just go back and forth across them a couple more times than I do on the front 2 DPNs. Yeah, and that worked great. And it looks, I did that like about halfway through. I'm trying to read my knitting, and it looks like I did that about halfway. So like instead of doing all of that shaping up here, all of it down at the bottom, like I did a couple rounds, like 3 or 4 rounds of ribbing, and then I just did a few rounds on the back, and then I switched back to doing rounds for the front and the back, and it just popped up that back a little bit to keep it kind of flush with the front of the sock. So that worked great. The other thing that I am trying to do with my fingering weight socks right now, this might look a little silly. I don't know if it looks silly, or even if you can really tell, but there's mohair here. I'm holding mohair double with my yarn at the ball of my foot. And the reason is because I've noticed that with my fingering weight socks, it's not all of them, just some of them, and I don't really know what the difference is because some of my oldest ones I've worn the most are not wearing through. So I don't really know what that's about. And same yarn from same dyer. But some of my socks are wearing through at the ball of the foot, and I wear my socks barefoot in my house, so that kind of makes sense. It would probably do it even if I didn't shoes though, because of the friction of like rubbing against the bottom of my shoe. So I don't really know if the barefoot versus in the shoe makes that big of a difference as far as the ball of the foot goes. It would make a huge difference for the heel. But yeah, my heels don't wear through at all because I'm, just wearing them around the house. But the ball of the foot is wearing through. And I'm kind of sensitive to mohair. So I figured a good way to use the mohair that's in my stash is just to hold it double for the ball of my foot when I'm knitting, right before the toe. Just to like add some extra oomph to that part of the foot. Because it doesn't really add any bulk to it. I can't really feel it when it's on my foot. But because this is silk and mohair, silk is pretty sturdy, so it's adding like a strand of silk to all of the stitches. And then the mohair, it would be nice if the mohair felted a little bit, because then that would just provide extra sturdiness as well. So that's my hope, is I'm gonna do some more socks. Every pair of socks I knit from now. Sorry about that. The timer went off for some reason. If I am knitting my socks in fingering weight yarn, I'm going to hold double with mohair to add some sturdiness. So yeah, those are these pairs of socks. Oh, and the yarn for this is Nanette Wake Studio. I want to say it was like cabin. It was cabin something. It was a one-of-a-kind colorway. She doesn't have it anymore. At least I'm almost positive she doesn't have it anymore. But it might be like Cabin by the Sea or something about a cabin. Sorry, I can't remember the name of it. But most of her colorways are one of a kind. And so you get them and then they're gone. And she doesn't have very many of them. So next finished object is Tunisian crochet. This is my first Tunisian crochet project that I've ever done, and I really, really enjoyed it. I will probably do some more Tunisian crochet, but this is the Westmont shawl by Toni Lipsey of TL Yarn Crafts, and I love it. So fun. This is a great springtime, summertime Shawl. Tunisian Crochet does make a denser fabric, but this is done with fingering weight yarn, so I still think it's very flowy, very like pliable, very squishy, very usable. It's not too heavy. And then of course these little like mesh panels make it more breathable as well. So great shawl. The yarn is not something that you can get. I got this yarn from Studio South Pensacola, and they are no longer, their storefront is no longer in operation. They might still be available online. They might still have an online store. So if you wanted to look up the Studio Yarn Company Pensacola, or Pensacola Studio Yarn Company, you might be able to find some yarn from them, but I would doubt they'd have this colorway, because she tends to do, or at least, you know, when I was shopping with her, she would just do very limited kind of colorways, and you know, she just dyed a batch, and then when it was out, it was out. This was the straw flower. This one is straw flower. And I couldn't even begin to guess what the other one was called. But really beautiful, and I love the texture that Tunisian Crochet makes. This is just like a simple Tunisian crochet, and I just love the texture it makes. So fun. Super wearable. I love this color for the summer and for the spring. Yeah, and I crocheted it to pattern, so nothing to really report on that end of things. I love it. Tunisian crochet definitely takes a little bit longer, at least for me, than traditional crochet, but it doesn't take as long as knitting. So it's somewhere in between as far as how fast it is. Last finished object to share with you guys. And I also wonder, like, I might have to not be very chatty at the end, because since my alarm went off and it cut my video off, that means I'm going to have to do editing, and I do all my editing on my phone. I need to figure out how to do it on my computer maybe, and that might help me, but I haven't been able to figure that out yet, and I have limited storage on my phone, so whenever I edit videos on my phone, it takes up a lot of storage space, so we'll see. But I'll try to keep things a little shorter from here on out, so that I can hopefully edit this on my phone and it not be a problem. This shawlette I just finished last week. This is the Spindrift Shawl by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade. This is actually, I think you can purchase this pattern, but you can also sign up for her shawl course through her website, and this is a free pattern that you get through that free knitting shawls course, or maybe it's the newsletter. I can't remember, but you can check out her website, and it'll show you like how you can get this pattern for free. This is such a great, simple but elegant. I love her patterns. I always describe them as being simple but effective, because just look how lovely that is. It's not a super involved pattern. Some of her patterns are a bit more intricate, like her Miss May mystery shawl knit along that I did with her last summer. That I would say is an intricate kind of lace pattern. But then she has these that are like a pretty, you know, straightforward sort of deal, but they look lovely. I really, really love this a lot. This yarn you can get. This is by Sheepy Shire, or The Sheepy Shire on Etsy. And this colorway is called Fairy Bottom Burps, which is so cute. And it does have stellina in it. I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but it has a little bit of silver stellina, which I just think is so great. I've actually had this yarn in stash for probably like 2 years and didn't really know what to do with it, because I don't really love don't love tons of sparkle for my clothing, and I don't knit with it a lot, and the idea of stellina just, I didn't really know what to do with it. But then I found this pattern and I was like, oh, that'd be perfect, because just that little like subtle silvery shimmer in a little shawlette, like as an accessory, it really substitutes well for wearing jewelry, like a necklace or something. So that's kind of how I think of this, is it's like my yarn jewelry. It does just have a very subtle silvery shimmer to it. It's not obvious at all. And I think it's super charming. But if you're not into stellina, Sheepy Shire can do this colorway on any of their bases, so it doesn't have to be stellina. And again, this is the Fairy Bottom Burps colorway, and it's just so, so pretty. Let's see if I can do a little closer up again for you so you can see the color. These are kind of springtime colors, I feel like, but I don't know. Honestly, I don't really feel like I don't feel like colors have seasons. Colors are just colors to me. I guess like they can make me think of seasons, like particularly fall, autumnal kind of colors, certainly, but you know, they're not just limited to the autumn. So anyway, very springy, but I think this works great for summer as well. And then, you know, even in the winter, why not? I love this. I think it's a very frothy kind of lace shawlette, and I'm enjoying it immensely. I knit it just to pattern. I didn't change anything. So those are my finished objects to share with you guys. We'll do our Hygge MAL winner next. And so the Hygge MAL winner, I did do random number generator. There were so many great entries for the Hygge MAL. Thank you all for participating who did. And if you haven't seen finished objects that people had, check them out on Instagram and Ravelry. We have the Hygge Make Along thread in Ravelry where people posted their finished objects and chatted a little bit. And there were so many beautiful projects on there. Seriously, if you need some inspiration, especially for next winter, maybe check it out. And then we had a lot on the Instagram tag. The Instagram tag was The Mindful Knitter Hygge MAL, which is MAL, which is a very long tag. So I'm considering changing that for next year, but we'll see. But we had a lot of great projects on there too. So I just took all of the entries from Ravelry and from Instagram. I assigned a number to all of them, and then I did random number generator. And the prize, I'll show you, is a lovely skein of hand spun that was kindly donated to the podcast by friend and viewer Chelsea. Beautiful. And then I'm going to be pairing this lovely set of stitch markers by Gem State Yarns. These shall be the prize. And the prize is going to this was, and I made a note to myself, this was an Instagram username. So, and again, I did pull from Ravelry and Instagram, but the winner was Instagram handle handcrafted by Dorothy. So if you are watching, I'm assuming your name is Dorothy, congratulations, and thank you so much for crafting with us this winter. Dorothy submitted several different projects, so the odds were definitely in her favor. There are a few people that submitted a large number of projects, so several people on both Ravelry and Instagram had like pretty good odds. But yeah, some lovely little like mittens and such cute things. So thank you, Dorothy, for participating, and I hope that you really enjoy your prize. Email me at clairethemindfulknitter@gmail.com. Again, that will be in the description down below this video. Email me there so you can give me your contact information and I can get this shipped to you as soon as I can. And if I don't hear back from you we'll see. If I don't hear back by the next podcast episode, I will pull another winner, but hopefully I'll hear back from you. I've never actually had that problem Usually the winners get back to me within like a week or so. So, but if it ever happens where I don't hear from somebody, then I'll just like re-poll another winner before the next podcast episode and re-announce it. So congratulations, and again, thank you to everybody who participated in the MAL, the make-along. It was really fun, and I think it's such a great way to spend those last couple months of winter in community and crafting and being cozy together. So on to works in progress. I do have a few works in progress that I'm not sharing with you guys today, just because there were so many finished objects to share. That just felt like too many things. So I have my Stephen West Twist and Turn shawl, which I have made progress on, but it's not done. So it's still a whip. It's upstairs. And then I have my year-long crochet along blanket that I'm doing. It's the Multivalence blanket by Expression Fiber Arts, or hosted by Expression Fiber Arts. The designer has her own name, but it's through Expression Fiber Arts, and the designer's name is on there. And then I have, oh, that basket I'm crocheting. That's kind of just like an in the background kind of thing. Like, you know, I work on it when I feel like crocheting a basket. So those I don't have with me. And then I have a sweater that I've been crocheting. It's a fingering weight striped sweater that was crocheted on a teeny tiny hook, and it took a million years, and I now have to piece it all together. So the sleeves and the body panels are all separate. I've got all the ends woven in and everything. I just need to seam it all together now and then block it. But I've been lagging because I just honestly don't want to. It took so long to crochet it. I don't want to seam it, but here we are. So I'll get it done by the next podcast and show it to you guys then, because really, really cute. And I'm excited to show you. And maybe I'll get to wear it later this summer, like on a cold evening or something. But what I do have to show you guys, this is basically a finished object, but it's not totally finished because I haven't woven in all the ends and I haven't blocked it. But this is my newest dive tee. This is the dive tee is the pattern, and it is by We Are Knitters. I have knit a few of these now, not always with the dive stuff, but I've used the recipe several times for some other t-shirts that I've knit. And then I guess this is the second time that I've knit it like with the actual like drop stitches to get this little dive. And it's on the sleeves as well. So, and that little like drop stitch V is on the front and the back. So yeah, this I sort of knit to pattern. I sized up my needles. I think it calls for US 8 needles, and I used US 10 because I really wanted like a more open fabric, and I really wanted this to be very drapey, especially since I was knitting this with wool rather than cotton, and the pattern uses cotton yarn. So I wanted this to be drapier and more open and breathable. So once this is blocked, I think it'll open up a bit and just be super breathable and nice. I love this yarn. Oh my goodness, I love this yarn. This is by Oink Pigments yarn company, and it is so cute. The colorway is called Random Carp, and it's a worsted weight yarn. I used 3 skeins for this, and you can kind of see that the colorways are different, but I did try to like fade it a little bit. So I like that this top part is kind of like faded up. So yeah, I would just use 1 skein for a bit, and when I started to get to the last like 15-20 grams of it, I would alternate like every other row with the next skein, and then I did that just like for each of the 3 skeins so that they each kind of faded into each other rather than just being in these like big like chunky blocks. I think it worked well. So that's this guy. Nothing else to really say about it. Hopefully I will be wearing it in the next episode for you all, nicely blocked and totally finished. I wove in some of the ends, but obviously there's some more ends to weave in. And then for my other work in progress, I've gotten this little bag. This is another t-shirt. This is a fingering weight stockinette t-shirt. I'm glad it's stockinette because it's actually going pretty quick. I'm not knitting any socks right now, so this is kind of my like mindless, just kind of like easy on the go kind of knitting, or like when I don't really want to think about it, I just want to knit and stockinette. That's what this is. So instead of doing socks right now, I'm doing this t-shirt. Look how cute this yarn is. Oh my gosh. So cute. This is the Double Take Tee by Espace Tricot, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry. I'm knitting the size medium. I am knitting it to pattern. I'm using the needles recommended and everything. I think I said it's a free pattern, and so it's very cool. Do I have a picture of it on here to show you guys so you can kind of see what the pattern does? Let me see if I can pull it up. It's neat because it takes, at least for the size, I think it does go to extra small. Extra small, small, medium. For all of those sizes, it only takes 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn. I say that it, I think that let's see, I think that their skeins were like 115 grams. So I don't know, do with that what you will. I'm using 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn, but I'm also doing this a little cropped. So, if you did a full length version, you might need 3 skeins. And it does look like if you did like a size large and up, you would need 2 skeins of each color. So 4 skeins of fingering weight yarn. But the reason that there are 2 different colors, let me turn up this brightness so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, that's as high as it's gonna go. Is the front and the back are both knit the same, but in 2 different colors. So it's a reversible pattern. You can wear either side to the front, and it's kind of like you've got 2 different t-shirts, which is so, so cute. And the way that they kind of make this seamless is the hem at the bottom and then the neckline. You hold the 2 different yarns double. So you've got this very like cohesive kind of neckline and hem around the border because it uses both of the colors that you're using for the front and the back. So I think it's a clever pattern, and it's a great way to use up a couple of skeins of fingering weight yarn that you don't really know what you want to do with, and they kind of go together, but maybe you don't want to do a 2 skein shawl or, you know, whatever. Yeah, so I am planning to probably make a few of these, not all this summer because this is a lot of stockinette, but the gauge isn't too bad. It's US 6 needles, so 4mm needles. So it's definitely quicker than knitting socks. But yeah, super, super cute. I like that it's a very relaxed fit. I think once this, you know, blocks, it'll be fairly relaxed. And again, I'm doing a cropped version, so I should be able to get away with just the 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn. Here's the other one. So I've got this super cute speckled, like, it's like a super, it's mostly white. It's like white and pale pink. And then it's got all these like rainbowy speckles. This is color number 1. And then my color number 2 is this beautiful pale pink with more neutral speckles. It's got some like red speckles in there too. And then it has these like little bits of like lavender as well, which is fun. So these are my 2 kind of coordinating yarns. So front and back, I'm super excited about it. I have been wanting to use up this yarn for quite a while, and then I've had this yarn not super long, but I wanted something like really fun and special to do with it. I guess I want something special to do with all of my yarn, so it's probably goes without saying. But I just thought this was a super cute way to use those two colors, and I feel like there's something else I was going to say. Oh, where the yarn is from. Both of these yarns are Nanette Wake Studio, which is on Etsy. This is the colorway Lullaby. So this like a rainbowy speckle one is Lullaby. Pretty sure. I don't think it's a longer name than that. I think it's just Lullaby. And then this pink with the neutrally speckles is, I want to say Ice Castle, but I've had this for over a year. And again, she does limited, like small batches of things, and then usually doesn't repeat the colorway. Every once in a while she will, I guess, if it's like really popular, but mostly she does kind of like a one and done kind of thing with her colorways. So probably not available, but this is Ice Castle. Yes, so super fun. I actually only cast this on less than a week ago. I think it was like 4 days ago. So it's going by fairly quickly. I am on the sleeves on the front part, and so I'll knit a few more inches of the sleeves, and then I'll start doing the shaping for the neckline. And then this front panel will be finished, and I will move on to the back panel. I was thinking that this was going to take me all summer to knit, and that I wasn't going to be able to wear it this summer, but who knows? Maybe I'll get it finished this month and I'll get to wear it for the summer. That would be really awesome. I would love to be able to do that. So that's my double take tee by Fastrico. And my next cast on is going to be, since I finished my dive tee and that guy is just going swimmingly, and I don't have any other active whips. Like, this is my only active whip right now, which is kind of fun. I'm being fairly monogamous at the moment, which is really nice. I actually really love to be a monogamous knitter. I like to have, like, at the most 3 projects on the go. More than that really kind of overwhelms me. It's too much to think about and keep track of. And I like to finish things. So I'm really enjoying just having 1 or 2 things on the go at the moment. So yeah, like my twists and turns shawl and my year-long blanket, like those are just kind of long-term in the background. I work on them when I feel like it, kind of things. But here's the yarn for my next cast on. Look how precious this is. Oh my gosh, how summery is this? Does this not just make you think of like peach tea or something? Or like a beautiful tropical flower? Ah, so good. So this does not have a dye or a colorway. I'm sorry. This is Malabrigo Rios, and it is a single lot. So I think that that's when they just have like one-of-a-kind kind of colorways that they do, and this is one of them. I found it at Fiber Festival, and I am so excited to use this. This is going to get turned into a cropped tank top. The tank top I'm going to do is the Minty Summer Tank by, oh, it used to be Nalu Knits, but now she doesn't go by Nalu Knits anymore, I think. Let me find it for you all. I actually test knit this for her last summer. There we go. Well, it says naluknits.com. So her website is still Nalu Knits, but I don't think she's Nalu Knits on Ravelry or Instagram anymore. I don't know. I guess we'll find out in a moment. But yeah, this is the Minty Summer Tank. And when I originally test knit it, it's not written for a tunic length, but I just ended up doing a tunic length kind of on accident. But I do wear it all of the time in the summer. So it's a really great, it's a great pattern. And I do love how adjustable the length is. For some reason, this is not wanting to show me like a big picture of let me see if I can get into it through Ravelry. And yeah, so that works a whole lot better. So this is the Minty Summer Tank by Nalu Knits. Again, it's not showing me like a big picture. It's only showing me these small pictures, which is strange. I want to show you guys the big picture. Okay. Well, I can't figure that out. I'm going to try to zoom and see. Oh my gosh, it's really not working. You can kind of see it. There's lace on the bottom. So that's her original sample. But let me see if I can. I don't know why this is so struggly. This is my version of it. So this is me. This is my sample that I knit for her. Or this is my test knit. So you can kind of see the lace a little bit better. And you can see I did like a tunic version. And I love this pattern. It's written for Aran weight yarn, which is so nice for a summer tank top because it's a big gauge. What's the needle size? So it ends up being like pretty breathable. US 8, so 5mm needles. And Malabrigo Rios is like a worsted-ish type weight, so that's a little smaller than Aran. So I think this will knit up great. I think that these two skeins are going to be perfect because if I'm remembering correctly, I used about 2 skeins of, it was a DK or worsted weight for my long, like full length tunic one, and I had some yarn left over. So I think for a cropped version, this is going to work just fine. And then for the lace at the bottom, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do, this is just a fingering weight scrap ball that I have. So this is probably like, this might be like 40 grams of yarn, maybe. So I'd say 30 or 40 grams right here. Yeah, so that's going to be plenty. So doing the lace in this guy and then using this guy for the body and the straps, this is going to be a very quick, very satisfying, and super cute tank top. I'm really looking forward to it. So this is getting cast on probably in the next couple days. Yeah, super pleased. So Minty Summer Tank by Nalu Knits. It is showing her name on Ravelry, so in case you want to see her name, it's Julie McKessie or Julie McKessie. Yeah, Minty Summer Tank. Great pattern. Really well written, super easy to follow. The lace is a very simple lace, but again, it's simple but effective. I think that's it for the yarny stuff. Trying to see if there's anything I forgot. This is my making journal, and this is kind of like how I have it set up at the beginning of every month. I keep track of how many skeins of yarn that I get and how many that I use. Typically I put what I've used them for, so I didn't put what I used them for on the skeins out. So I need to say those are for my double take tee. But yeah, and then I've got my projects on there, and I just put a little check mark next to each of them when I finish them. And this is kind of how I keep track of all my projects throughout the year. Sometimes I'll have like a page for a particular project with notes on it. If I use a different size needle, like I'll put a little note about like what size needle I used instead. This is the front of my making journal. So cute. I just got this journal at Target a couple years ago and added some yarny stickers to it. Yeah, so that is that. If you were only here for the yarny things, then thank you for hanging out with me. I hope to see you again next time. If you want to stick around for some chat, then I guess I'll update you on some life stuff real quick. But I'm going to try to make it short so that I'm actually able to edit the video and my phone doesn't say that the files are all too large and it won't let me edit it. So let's see. What's been going on in my life? So many things. So my weekends have been taken up lately by travel, social stuff. All of the kids are having their birthdays. So I'm traveling all over the place for children's birthdays because I have a million nieces and nephews. Let's see. I am rock climbing a lot now. So I'm going rock climbing with my friends basically every weekend. And a lot of the time that's like an 8-hour adventure on a Saturday. So it takes the whole day. Yeah, so that's been going on. I think I mentioned before that I am trying to start a new business. So that's taking up some time and some brain power. It's slow, but here we are. I'm offering a lot more yoga classes. I'm a yoga teacher, so I am offering a lot more yoga classes in the week now, which is great. But that's part of the business side of things. So I'm opening up a studio along with my other business. And so getting that studio like up and running, getting people into classes, all of the marketing for everything, it's just all takes a lot of time and energy and again, brain space. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm loving getting to teach more classes because I love teaching yoga. And let's see, what else? My dissertation. So a lot of you might know that I'm finishing up my PhD. Yes, I do work and I'm doing my PhD at the same time. And I'm knitting and crocheting to keep myself sane. So I am at the end of my PhD. I'm doing my dissertation right now. And if you're not familiar with dissertation projects, some people, depends on the program, it depends on the degree. Some of them don't really take too long. Some of them only take a year or so. For my program, they take a little longer. So I finally have gotten the research approved. So I'm allowed to start collecting data now, but that took months to get done. So yay, very grateful. It feels like a huge victory to finally have it approved and to start data collection. But I have human participants in my study and I'm doing experimental studies. So yeah, getting the data is now the tricky part because I have to get people to participate in my study so I can actually collect this data. So now that's the new hurdle. But I've got a lot of different recruitment sites and hopefully I'll get people signed up soon and I can get some data. Yeah, it's a long study. It's several weeks. So, yeah, hopefully that'll go swimmingly. But that's been taking up a bit of time and again, brain space. So between, my time being really tied up with social stuff, work has been pretty much the same. I have a normal like day job, as well, in addition to all of this. Yeah, so work's been pretty normal. But between the dissertation stuff and the trying to start a new business and a thriving, beautiful social life, and being pretty active with rock climbing, hiking, kayaking, I've still got dance going on. I'm going to dance 4 times a week right now. I have 4 dance classes a week and I'm teaching yoga at the dance studio. With all of that, that's why podcasts have not been filmed. On the days that I was going to film a podcast, something would either come up or my brain would be so done and I was just not able to do it because there was no way a coherent podcast was ever going to happen. So that's why I've been absent. Not because I don't love you all and not because I have stopped loving yarn. I still love yarn. Look at this beauty. Look at all of these finished objects from the past few months. But yeah, I've just been real busy. But it's all good stuff. So I think that's pretty much the catch up. For the summer, let's see. What are your guys' summer plans? Also, what are you making for this summer? I've got this theme right now of summer tops because I noticed in my wardrobe, I don't really have many summer tops, particularly hand knit ones. So I really wanted to fill that gap. And I am just really passionate about the summer tops. So I've got my dive tee, I've got my double take tee, I'm about to start this minty tank, and then I think I'm going to do another fingering weight crocheted top, probably as soon as I finish my minty tank, my minty summer tank, I will start that crocheted top. I have a beautiful 100% silk, mulberry silk fingering weight yarn that I want to use for that. So yeah, I'm just all about the summer tops right now. What are you all knitting for this summer, or crocheting, or just generally crafting? Are you doing a lot of sewing? I feel like a lot of people do a lot of sewing during the summer, because maybe they don't really want to work with like wool or have like heavy like knit projects on their lap, but they are happy to sit by their sewing machine. So what are you guys making this summer? And do you have any fun summer plans? I'm just planning on being outside as much as I can. We have our hot tub set up, which sounds kind of like, why would you want to sit in the hot tub in the summer? But I am about to turn the heat off to the hot tub, and it is undercover in the shade. So it's going to be like a very manageable temperature, I think, for just kind of floating in. It's big enough where I can get like a floaty and just kind of like float there. And so really like early in the morning or like later in the evening when it's not super hot, it's actually really, really pleasant. So I'm going to be doing some of that this summer. Probably not tons and tons of hiking as it gets hotter because I don't want to die of a heat stroke, but kayaking definitely. And then of course, spending time on the beach. That's going to be happening as well. And traveling to see the kids some. Yeah, because all of the kids are turning, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is one of them turning 6 this year? Oh my gosh. Whew. Wow. So, yeah. What are you guys up to this summer? What are you crafting and what are you doing? I think that's it for today. I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head, and this is probably long enough already. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I think that next podcast will be hopefully less frantic because it will be less time will have passed between podcast episodes. So hopefully it'll be less frantic and a little more cohesive, perhaps. This was just a lot of catching up. Yeah, just a lot of catching up. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me for today. I hope to see you in the next one, and I hope you're having a wonderful beginning of your summer. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.